Yeah, I was not allowed. We came for a tour and...
Prapanna Prabhu, maybe you don't know by name.
So let's see, we are in the chapter Embracing the Lord's Guardianship. Let's see what verse we are on. Dhanavad Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Bhakti Ranja Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai Shri Gauranga Sundar ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Radha Giridhari Dev ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Everything good?
Everything's wonderful, Maharaj, because you're here.
This is Prapanna Prabhu.
Prapanna.
You're on television. Prapanna Prabhu is driven escape all the way from Belgium.
Wow, amazing.
And wonderful host. His wife is here also.
You know, I don't know what verse we are on. Are we in actually we started chapter 7, I remember now. We started chapter 7, Atmanikshepa. But I don't know what verse we ended on. Oh, I remember this one, Jaggi Maharaj read. Okay, well, could you close that door?
Jai Gurudev. Too small.
Okay, well, I'm just going to start from the beginning again, because we just read a few verses, so we're starting again with chapter 7, Shri Bhakti Vachanamritam, words of nectar from the devotees, Atmanikshepa, full self-surrender. And of course, at the beginning of each of these chapters, Param Guru Maharaj has his own original verse or verses, which are like summarizing what is the mood of that particular limb of surrender. So here, Param Guru Maharaj has included 3 of his own verses, which are summarizing the mood of Atmanikshepa, or full self-surrender. Haro dehadi shudatma paryantasya samarpanam eva nishesha rupena yatmanikshepa uchyate atmarta cheshta shunyatvam krishnartaika prayasakam apitanyasta sadyatva sadhanatvan chatatvalam evam nikshipya chatmanam svanata charanam bhujat nakarshtam shaknuyat chapi sada tanmayatam bhajet. To summarily offer everything, from body and its paraphernalia up to pure soul unto the lotus feet of Sri Hari, is known as Atma Nikshepa, or full self-surrender. And we're of course reminded of Bali Maharaj here, right? First he gave everything, finally he gave himself. That is really what is required of us. We can give many things, we can give much paraphernalia, we can even give our body, but that is ultimately not what is wanted. The Lord, He only wants our heart, He wants our self. That is the only thing that He wants. When we're doing the arti, we're offering so many items, but really what we're trying to do is to offer ourself. That is really what is required. Srila Saraswati Thakur, when he made that comment, I've been trying to offer a flower to the body of Krishna for hundreds of lifetimes, still I am unsuccessful. So that physical giving, that physical act, it is a good starting point, but that is not what is wanted of us ultimately. So to offer everything from body and its paraphernalia up to pure soul unto the lotus feet of Sri Hari is known as Atmanikshepa, or full self-surrender. All selfish pursuits are abandoned, and every endeavor is for Krishna alone. And that too, up to the point of completely depending on Krishna for one's personal means and ends. And we're also reminded of the example of Draupadi. That is a very wonderful example of Atma Nivedana, or Atma Nikshepa, full self-surrender. And we heard from Devashish Prabhu that he heard from Srila Sridhar Maharaj that moment of surrender of Draupadi, it is the highest point of the Mahabharata, including Bhagavad Gita. Because, of course, Dushasan is trying to disrobe her. And she's like trying to hold on to her cloth, and then she's calling out to her husbands, and nothing's working. And then finally she just raises her arms and calls out, "Oh Gopi Jana Vallabha." That's one way she refers to him in that moment. "Please, I'm in your hands. Whatever you want to do with me, you can do with me. If you want to save me, you can save me, but you are my only shelter." And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that is the highest point of Mahabharata. So that we can say is perfect example of what is being described here. Having thus cast oneself unto the holy lotus feet of one's Lord, one can never be swayed from that position, and he engages in pure devotional service with all his heart forever. Once one gets some taste of the Prapanna Jivanamrta, that nectar that comes through surrender, then they can never be moved from that. If they get some taste of that, then nothing else can attract them. They cannot be moved from that position. Okay, now we're coming to the first cited verse of this chapter, and Param Guru Maharaj's illumination is Atmanikshepaschatma Nivedan Rupam, self-dedication as self-sacrifice. And then the verse, Krishna yarpita dehasya nirmamasya nahankrite manasas tat sarupatvam shmritam atma nivedanam. Of one who, out of love for Krishna, has died to live exclusively for the Lord's service, who is devoid of attachment for any other objective, and who is free from egotism. His godly mentality, or absence of pursuit for personal pleasure in quest of the Lord's pleasure, is known as Atma Nivedan, full self-sacrifice. I'm going to read that one more time. Of one who, out of love for Krishna, has died to live exclusively for the Lord's service, who is devoid of attachment for any other objective and who is free from egotism. His godly mentality or absence of pursuit for personal pleasure in quest of the Lord's pleasure is known as Atmanivedan, full self-sacrifice. Maharaj, we're very happy to hear from you. You want to...
Oh no, we are busily engaged in
okay.
what we are doing. Please, you be busily engaged what you are doing. And we're just introducing Sri Guru, Gaura Sunda, and there's a small Giriraj deity here, and known as Radha Giriraj. These are our deities.
And who's here?
Mani Kundala Devidasi. Mani Kundala.
Mani Kundala. Okay, very happy to meet you. Welcome.
This is Vishakha, who is world famous, that you know of her, and you are meeting her in person.
Yes, of course, I heard so much, especially from Avadhut Maharaj. Yes, it's true.
Yes,
but you're not
very nice nourishment. She's very deep and knowledgeable and very sweet.
But you're not going to spend the night with us, where we feel offended.
Next time, maybe? Next time, few nights.
Okay, good.
And Vishakha is born devotee, and you are born devotee. Born to devotee parents, born to devotee parents.
No, I'm not born. I became from my mama when I was 9. Because it's, yes, 85 year. Still Soviet Union. Where is my husband? He's here.
He came already to see Krishna.
Ah, yes.
And will you take a little prasad?
Yes.
Okay.
The word little is not needed. Okay.
You continue.
Anymore?
No disturbance. And this is Krishna Doyal Prabhu from Venezuela and Tungarasa from Norway.
Oh.
I have an international group here.
Yes.
They just drove Maharaj from Belgium.
From Belgium.
Belgium, yeah.
Belgium, France, swam across the channel, boat. Well, a little bit of France.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I wish I knew a little Sanskrit, then we could appreciate a lot more, but yeah. Okay. But I think this sounds very, very good. I would like to be like that one day. Of one who, out of love for Krishna, has died to live exclusively for the Lord's service, who is devoid of attachment for any other objective and who is free from egotism. His godly mentality or absence of pursuit for personal pleasure in quest of the Lord's pleasure is known as Atmanivedan, full self-sacrifice. Well, I met one person like that. And that is our Gurudev. He was that. No. He had zero separate interest. Everything he did was for the interest of Guru, Vaishnava, Bhagavan. He was the embodiment of that. And that attracted us so much. He inspired us to try to, some small way, try to step out of our little dark corners and join the universal flow, the normal flow. What is the normal flow, actually? Okay, next verse, Param Maharaj's illumination. Tatra chishvadati samarcha vishvasatvam. Faith in the infinite capacity of the Lord is to be found within such dedication. Faith in the infinite capacity of the Lord is to be found within such dedication. This is a very optimistic way to live. One who has faith, has real faith, not like, Kamala Shraddha, like I have at least, soft faith, but Sudridha Shraddha, has firm faith. They always live in this optimistic and bright mentality because they have faith in the infinite capacity of the Lord. They're always feeling the Lord's presence everywhere and within everything. So Gurudev expressed, I'm always hopeful. That he said that is my nature. I'm always hopeful. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj spoke about that. To be theistic means to be hopeful, to be optimistic, optimism, to be atheistic, to be pessimistic, that is atheism, actually. Because it means one can only be pessimistic if they don't really have faith in the Lord's presence and power, and as it's expressed here, His infinite capacity. So through dedication, through self-giving, through offering oneself to the Lord, that type of optimism will grow. Jai Shri Gauranga Sundar Juki Jai. One's faith will grow, one's optimistic mentality will grow. And the verse by Srila Vyasadeva, Ishwarasya tu samartyan nalabhyam tasya vidyate tasmin yasta barashete tat karmaiva samacharet. Due to His unlimited capacity, nothing whatsoever is unattainable for the Supreme Lord. Thus, to be devoid of self-endeavor, by completely depending upon Him, is to factually execute the purpose of the Lord. Due to His unlimited capacity, nothing whatsoever is unattainable for the Supreme Lord. Thus, to be devoid of self-endeavor by completely depending upon Him is to factually execute the purpose of the Lord. And to the next verse, Param Guru Maharaj's illumination, Tad yantram evatmanam anubhavati. The dedicated soul perceives that he is merely an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Lord. And the verse by Sri Kulashekar, Yat kritam yat kadishyami tat sarvam na maya kritam taya kritam tu falbuk tvam eva madhusudana. O Madhusudan, whatever I have done and whatever I will do, nothing is my endeavor. It is all done by you, and you alone are the enjoyer of the fruit. O Madhusudan, whatever I have done and whatever I will do, nothing is my endeavor. It is all done by you, and you alone are the enjoyer of the fruit. And then the next verse, Param Guru Maharaj's illumination, Hriditan yuktvat vanubhava na mityachara. Hypocrisy cannot show its face in the light of such a heart's revelation. Hypocrisy cannot show its face in the light of such a heart's revelation. And the verse cited from Gautamiya Tantra, Kenapi devena hridistitena yata niyuktosmi tata karomi. As I am engaged by a deity within my heart, so do I act. And this, of course, is a very high stage. a high stage of where one can live in that type of pure consciousness, where they're receiving that inspiration, that revelation, that descending revelation. One must be in a very pure state to be able to, truly live and act in such a way, and not something that we will imitate, like we hear in these famous examples given in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, that it's said that there's some division amongst the followers of Ramanuja, that some say that Sharanagati is, I don't remember the Sanskrit terms, but Sharanagati is like the way that a baby monkey has to hold on to its mother, right? It's very famous. And another group says Sharanagati is, so like the idea of the baby monkey has to hold on to the mother, right? There's effort required on the part of the monkey. And then there's another school that say, no, Sharanagati is more like a baby cat that is being carried in the mouth of its mother. There's no endeavor on the part of that kitten, just being carried by the mother. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said our line of thinking is more like the monkey, that there is some endeavor required on our part when we are approaching the Lord. But then he also said, but in a higher stage it may be more like the kitten. when one, because we are so encrusted by layers of false ego, we have like so many different challenges that we have to cross through, and so there is a lot of endeavor required on our part. But he said that in a higher stage, when one is in a more of a pure state, they're receiving some descending flow, and that is guiding them, and they're moving like in a, because it's like we're living in a state of perpetual resistance, right? Krishna consciousness is a flow, and our ego creates resistance to that flow. And so we're like in this like trying to practice Krishna consciousness, we're in this constant state of struggle, because like half of us is like resisting the natural flow of Krishna consciousness, and there's another side of us which is trying to move before us. So it's like kind of unnatural to us right now. But in a higher stage, one is just moving with that flow. One is able to perceive the pure current of Krishna consciousness. One is able to perceive and understand and feel the will of the Lord. And they're moving with that. It's not like this struggle, like, oh, I have to give this up and I have to give that up and I have to sacrifice my this and my that and my ego and so on. And they're just considering themselves as an instrument, and they're in this pure state, and what is coming to them, they're acting on that. So this, this level of surrender, very high level of surrender, is being described here. That really one is just an instrument, as one is inspired to act, they are acting like that. And in our condition, we have to be a little careful. What inspiration may come to us, we will generally try to verify that, Guru, Vaishnava, Sadhu, Shastra. But such a mode of existence as we're hearing described here, it's very beautiful and attractive. Okay. The next verse, Param Guru Maharaj's illumination. Govindam vinatatra sarvatmana nanya bhava. Within such surrender, there is no other conception but Govinda in every thought, word, and deed. And now we have another verse from Srila Vyasadeva. Govindam Paramanandam Mukundam Madhusudanam Tyaktwanyam Vaina Janami Nabhajami Smarami Va. I know, worship and remember no one but the Lord Paramananda Mukunda Madhusudan Govinda. And we saw our Gurudev, he lived in that mode of existence. Everything, he didn't live at all for himself. He was wholly living and conscious of his Guru Maharaj. And everything he did, thought, word, and deed was for his service. And as we were mentioning, I think this morning, even in the smallest things, he was being reminded of his Guru Maharaj and the higher plane of existence. Everything, as we hear Mahaprabhu's descriptions of Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he sees a river. Oh, there's I think also in the play they had some lines. Raghunath had some lines expressing. Yes, he had some lines expressing that, but maybe you didn't hear because maybe he wasn't loud enough. But when Mahaprabhu's mood, when he saw a river, that was the Jamuna. He was seeing the Jamuna. When he saw a mountain, oh, there's Govardhan. When he sees the forest, oh, there's Vrindavan. Everything was reminding and stimulating that higher plane. And we saw Gurudev, he was also living in that type of spiritual consciousness. He's seeing the hills in Sokel Ashram, and he's seeing Govardhan. He's describing this Gupta Govardhan. In Mauritius, when he visited Mauritius, some mountains there, he called them Guru Maharaj Mountain. He said they reminded him of Guru Maharaj. Because Guru is heavy, right? Guru is fixed in the truth. So he's reminded of Guru Maharaj. Everything is taking one to the center. Okay. And then the next verse, Param Guru Maharaj's illumination. Sarva Traiva Bishta Deva Darshanam. Indeed, one's worshipful deity is seen everywhere. And the verse, very famous verse, everybody knows. Ito Nishingo, Parato Nishingo, Yato Yato Yami, Tato Nishingo. By here Nishingo, Hridaye Nishingo, Nishinganadim Sharanam Prapadye. Nishinga is here, Nishinga is there, Nishinga is wherever I go. Nishinga is outside, Nishinga is within my heart. I am surrendered unto that primeval Lord, Nishinga. Trying to remember the fourth verse of the Chatur Shloki of Bhagavatam is, I can't remember exactly, but it's something like the Chatur Shloki of Bhagavatam that was spoken by Krishna to Brahma, from Brahma to Narad, and Narad to Vyasadeva. But the fourth of those, it's described as because of these four verses, they're sometimes described or discussed in terms of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan, right? And so the fourth of these is describing Prayojan Tattva. But apparently it's saying something like Prayojan Tattva, what is that? That is Prema. But apparently it's kind of sounding like Sankhya Yoga, just like analysis of the elements. It's something like, as the material elements exist like inside of material objects and also outside of them at the same time, like how like fire may be present in wood, but fire is also outside of wood, something like that. He's saying I have that type of existence within this world, something along those lines. But Mahaprabhu describes that as like he says that's describing the state of prem, that when one is living in that state of prem, one is one is experiencing the presence of the Lord in that type of way, like in such an intense way. Like, same thing that's being described here. Nishinga's here, Nishinga's there, Nishinga's wherever I go, Nishinga's outside, Nishinga's within my heart. Everywhere one is perceiving the presence of their Lord. There is no separate existence. Self-forgetfulness out of love. One is living in love, in consciousness of their worshipable Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his song, Bosiya Suya Tomara Charana Chintibo Satata Ami. Whether I'm sitting up or lying down, I'm always meditating on your lotus feet. There's no separate existence. There's nothing other than that. What a satisfying, fulfilling way to live. Okay. Then the next verse, Param Maharaj's illumination. Anyabi sandivarjita stairatir eva syat. Rejection of all spurious motives facilitates continuous attachment for the Lord. And spurious, something like cheating, or I don't have a dictionary in front of me. Spurious, something like false or cheating, something like that. So, or we can say like impure motives, just to make it very simple. Anyabi sandi, sun, isn't that referring to, well, anya means other. I mean, I think the way you would translate it, and varjita means rejecting. I think like the rejection of anything other, like other than what's helpful to this. I think that's more of a literal translation. Stayi ratir, like steady attachment, or here it's translated continuous attachment, fixed attachment. Like reject, I mean, I think in a simple sense you would say, I mean, a simple way to say, rejection of everything unfavorable will like help to bring about this, fixedness and Krishna consciousness. And then that continuous Krishna consciousness will favorably develop by the rejection of everything that is opposing that. And then the verse is by Sri Kulashekar. Nate datari bogi boga shayane narayane madave deve devaki nandane suravade chakrayude sharangini lila shesha jagat prapancha jatade vishveshware sridhare Govinde kuruchitta vittam achalam anyaistukim vartanai. He is your Lord, known by his various pastimes as Vidata, Ananta Shayam, Narayan, Madhava, Devata, Devaki Nandan, Surashashta, Chakrapani, Sharangi, Vishvodar, Vishveshwar, Sri Krishna, and Govinda. What more could be desired than to offer your unswerving thoughts unto him? What more could be desired than to offer your unswerving thoughts unto him? Unswerving means like undeviated, that like smoothly. There's beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam, Madguna Shuti Machena, where the Lord is saying, when my devotees, just by hearing about my qualities, their consciousness immediately comes, rushing to me. And he gives the beautiful analogy, the way that rivers, they come to join the ocean. They merge into the ocean. So just hearing about my qualities, my devotees, their hearts, their consciousness is immediately running to me like that, unswervingly. Okay, the next verse. Param Guru Maharshi's illumination. Paramatmani swatmarpanam eva sarvata veda tatparyam. Well, this is famous verse of Prahlad Maharaj, but the illumination. Full self-surrender is the whole purport of the Vedas. Full self-surrender is the whole purport of the Vedas. Very nice, very clear. So many things are described in the Vedas, right? So many injunctions, so many prohibitions, so many sacrifices, so many pujas, so many devas, and so on and so forth. But what is actually the essence of that? What is the purpose of that? It is to bring us to Swatmarpanam, to self-surrender, to self-giving. And of course there's some gradual approach, some gradual development in theistic conception in order to accommodate persons of whatever mindset, inclination. But that is actually where the Vedas are trying to take you. But one must have some clear consciousness to be able to perceive that. And Srila Bhakti Thakur, he goes one step further. And in one of his songs, he says that all the Vedas declare that, what is it? Sarva Vede Bole? That it's something like Krishna is the property of the maidservants of Vrindavan. Something like that. Like all the Vedas, they declare this. All the Vedas declare this. But if you, ordinary scholar, if you go and look through the Vedas, you're not going to find that. But this is Srila Bhakti Thakur's vision, because he's understanding where the Vedas are trying to take us. This is their goal. And so Prahlad Maharaj, he is declaring this in Bhagavatam, that Swatmarpanam, this is the essence. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, when on one occasion somebody was visiting from another mission, they were visiting our mat, and it was during the month, I don't know which month, but during the Chaturmasya period. And they noticed that in our mat, they weren't so strictly following all of the different, like there's so many different, there's specific foods that you're not meant to take during these months, right? So he noticed that in our mat, this wasn't being followed very strictly. And so he asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj about that. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, ultimately these things, they are like superficial. And then he quoted this verse of Prahlad Maharaj that the Vedas, they're giving some instruction like this, but what is the real essence of the Vedas? Swatmarpanam, to encourage self-surrender. So then once one has come to that conclusion, then they will have to then so many other things won't seem so important anymore. Once they've come to the essence, once they've come to that final conclusion, then many things will not appear very important. They are not essential anymore. Smaryanta satatam vishnur vishmartavya najatu chit sarva vidi nisedasyor ittayor eva kinkara. To always remember Krishna and to never forget Krishna. All of the injunctions and prohibitions that are given in the Vedas, they are servants of these two principles. So, things have to be seen from this perspective. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. All rules, regulations, prohibitions, so they're servants of these principles. Means this is the primary thing and this is the secondary thing. So this may be adjusted according to promoting this higher thing, right? And so we see in the case of our Guru Varga, especially in the case of Saraswati Thakur, they're, from one perspective, doing revolutionary things because they're making so many adjustments, but in appreciation for the essential principles of, essential spiritual principles. So then we will read this verse of Prahlad Maharshi. Dharmartha kama itiyo bihitastri varga iksha chayi nayadamo vivida chavarta manye tad etadakilam nigamasya satyam swadmarpanam swa suhrida paramasya pumsa. Swa suhrida, very nice. Suhrida means like dear, or sometimes it's given as friendly. So like swa, like one's own self. Swa suhrida. It's translated here as the dear well-wisher of the soul. Or we could say like our best friend. Swa suhrida. Krishna is described in this way here. As like the most dear to the self. To one's own self. Very nice. So the translation, the pursuits of religiosity. So this is Dharma, Artha, Kama. The pursuits of religiosity, prosperity, and sensual enjoyment have been delineated as the three ends of human existence. They include the sciences of self-knowledge, elevation, and logic, the principles of government, and various methods of livelihood such as farming, etc. All these pursuits are advocated by those sections of the Vedas dealing with trimodal matter, so it means connected with the three modes of material nature, one's material existence within this world. And therefore I consider them to be transient, because that's not who we really are. On the other hand, I know self-dedication unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the dear well-wisher of the soul, to be the only factual reality propounded by the Vedas. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he makes some statement like along these lines. And how does it go? It's saying like, these sections of the Vedas that are dealing with these subject matters, they are, the flowery words that those verses, the flowery words of the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, don't give your attention, don't be distracted by that. But Nitya, how does it go? But situate yourself in the Nirgun plane. Give your attention to the Nirgun plane, Nirgun principles, like along those lines. These are all transient. These sections are all concerned with transient, temporary concerns. Don't waste your time with that. But give your attention to the necessity of your soul and your eternal welfare. So this verse, I'm just thinking, this verse is like, you don't need to read any of the Vedas. Prahlad Maharshi just like summarized everything here in one verse. Everything's four Vedas. Wait. 18 Puranas, 108 Upanishads, and so on. Everything is being summarized here. But no, actually, he hasn't mentioned the sections concerned with moksha. Only Dharma, Artha, Kama. But anyhow, a lot is being covered in this verse of Prahlad Maharaj. So, the essence, our gurus, they have given their attention to the essence. So we have Prapanna Jivanamrta, we have Sharanagati, and we have so many songs that are discussing and encouraging this mood of Sharanagati. This is the essence. Okay, well, maybe we'll just read a couple more verses. We don't need to go too late. Atmanikshepa Padati, the pathway to self-dedication. And then the verse by Jamuna Charja. Humility, we can say. This verse of Jamuna Charja is very humble prayer. So Param Guru Maharaj is saying, this is the pathway to self-dedication, like the starting point, this mood of humility. Aparada sahasra bhajanam patitam bhima bhavarno vodare bhavarna vodare agatim sharanagatam hare kripaya kevalam atmasat kudu. The perpetrator of thousands of offenses, fallen into the terrible ocean of material existence, I have no shelter but you. O Lord Hari, please graciously accept this surrendered soul as one of your own. The perpetrator of thousands of offenses, Harpanam evat marpanam iti manyate. Some consider bodily dedication to be self-dedication. And then the verse, and this is very nice verse. We heard Param Guru Maharaj quote this verse. Chintam koryan narakshayai rikritasya yatha pasho tatarpayan haro deham viramed asya rak. To the upkeep of a souled animal, there will similarly be no cause to be concerned for the upkeep of one's body when it has been offered under the lotus feet of Sri Hari. And we can also appreciate this in a more broad way in terms of like our concern with our own, sold. Like Krishna can do whatever he wants. He can treat us however he likes. We don't have any rights anymore. All rights reserved. Very, very heavy. is of course expressed so beautifully in the last verse of the Shikshashtakam. You can do as you like with me. I can be treated of his capacity to offer himself unto the Lord. And this is another verse by Jamunacharya. This is very, very hopeful verse. Sometimes I think about this verse. Vapuradishu yopi kopiva gunato saniyata tatavida tadaham tavapada padmayor aham adyaiva maya samarpita. However I may be materially designated, however my character may be known, now, O Lord, this whole sense of ego is offered by me unto your holy lotus feet. However I may be materially designated, however my character may be known, now, O Lord, this whole sense of ego is offered by me unto your holy lotus feet. This is so nice, this verse. Because, sometimes we have this idea, I have and I encountered in others, that we have to become perfect first, and then we're going to offer ourselves, and then we're going to surrender. Like there's no middle ground. Like we have to like become perfect, and then we're going to give everything. And we're beating ourselves up because we're not perfect. But that's not what is wanted of us, actually. It's like, as you are, just give yourself. And that takes some humility. Like, to just look at oneself and accept, this is who I am and this is what I am. Gurudev, I'm standing in front of you in this naked way. Like that takes some humility to be able to do that. Like, not trying to cover and hide the faults that we have, but just raw, naked. We heard that actually Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he commented how in this pastime of the Braja Gopis, when he takes their clothes away, you heard that is like representing that naked approach that we have to have. And we saw in a practical way how Gurudev really appreciate, devotees who could do that, whatever faults they had, they were just approaching him. And, this is who I am and this is what I am. And I want to serve you. I want to have a relationship with you. And I'm not that I'm afraid and avoiding you because I'm not perfect. He really appreciates, whatever somebody's condition was, whatever misconceptions they had, whatever attachments they had, they were just coming forward and offering themselves. He really appreciated that. There was one case, one devotee, he mentioned about them that I don't know if I should say exactly what he said, because I don't want anyone to know who I'm talking about. But okay, I'll just say that this devotee, they have some attachment to yoga, they have some attachment to Lord Shiva, but they came and they gave everything. They just, with that attachment, they came forward, they gave it, they offered themselves, and he accepted that. And he didn't ask them to change because he knew it would be too difficult to change. He just accepted them, and he appreciated that direct mood of surrender. And you know, so many devotees we saw, some bad habits, some material disqualification, but trying to serve and giving themselves to Gurudev, and that was what he appreciated. And here's the thing, he can fix us. He can purify us and he can make us fit. This verse is so nice, you know?
Also, he always extracts. I think maybe you told us about this before, that he extracts this what is necessary for service. Anyway, different qualities in devotees. Some of them may be like negative or like, but he uses it anyway.
Yes. Yes. However I may be materially designated, because we've acquired, we've been coursing through so many lifetimes, and we've acquired some particular material nature. We all have like our own unique variety of misconception. And however my character may be known, we may be known and understood and perceived in so many different ways by so many different people. But whatever that may be, I'm offering myself. This whole sense of ego, I'm offering that unto you. It's very, very hopeful. And it also reminds us to have some broad spirit in our view of our God brothers and God sisters and our dealings with one another. Because whatever it is that we're seeing, that we're thinking is whatever it is, wrong or annoying, or it's all something false. It's an artificial construction. It's a covering. So we cannot become too caught up with that, or too disturbed, or analyze that too much, because they've come forward and they've offered themselves to the supreme, most purifying force. And those covers, they can rapidly dissolve. So we have to maintain that type of broad mood in our vision and dealings with the devotees. We forget, but it's very important. Well, we pray, as Gurudev expresses in his introduction, that these beautiful words of Prapanna Jivanamrta will have a place in our heart, may remain with her merciful presence in every land, in every home, and in every heart. We hope that she will find some place within our heart. Jai Shri Prapanna Jivanamrta.